Qui Yar. Greetings, I am Tad Larkin, the Lore Master of Manda-LORE. And today, I'll be digging through the archives to elaborate on the Immortal Sith Lord Darth Andeddu. Born sometime after 6,900 years before the Battle of Yavin on the deep core world of Prakith, Andeddu was a male humanoid with a powerful connection to the Force. Not much is known about Andeddu's early history. In fact, we know more about his accomplishments after his death than we do in his life. We know that at some point he went to or was taken to the Sith home world of Korriban, where he took great interest in studying the dark side of the Force, particularly the techniques of Karnus Mur, one of the original Dark Lords. Over the years, he gained more knowledge through his studies, and through knowledge he gained power, eventually rising in station and becoming the Dark Lord of the Sith on Korriban. With his newfound power, the one thing that Andeddu began to fear most was, of course, losing his power, and with that as a primary drive, he soon sought what all living beings had been searching for since the beginning of life, the key to immortality. After decades of pawing through ancient scrolls and conducting archaic experiments, Darth Andeddu became the first Sith Lord to perfect the practice of essence transfer, allowing the practitioner to transfer his Force essence into another host body, providing that the host body is too weak-minded to resist. Upon learning of his mastering of his own fate, Andeddu's subjects began to covet his powers, and after he refused to share this knowledge, they conspired against him, plotting to steal his knowledge and subsequently murder the Dark Lord. Andeddu was one step ahead of them. Catching whiff of their sudden but imminent betrayal, he constructed a false tomb in the Valley of the Dark Lords, to hopefully lead would-be pursuers to a dead end, gathered his scrolls and manuscripts, and returned to Prakith. Upon returning to Prakith, Darth Andeddu flexed his powers and conquered the world for himself, enthralling its populace and declaring himself the God King of Prakith. The God King of Prakith reigned long past his natural lifespan, thanks to his Sith sorcery, inspiring the rising of a cult known as the Malevolence in undying devotion to him. Though he still lived, Andeddu's body was decaying, and that, combined with his increasing paranoia that his enemies would come back to challenge his rule, he built a tomb for himself, along with his books and scrolls, and his body clutched the Holocron from within his sarcophagus. Due to the unstable nature of the deep core region, all of the charted hyperspace lanes leading to Prakith collapsed, leaving the world in isolation, as its theocratic society continued to guard the tomb of their God King, eagerly awaiting the day of his resurrection. Fast forward several thousand years after the new Sith Wars, Darth Bane proclaimed himself the new Dark Lord of the Sith, with Darth Zana as his apprentice, in accordance with his rule of two, and over the years, Bane began to seek the secret to immortality himself. Discovering mention of Darth Andeddu and Prakith from an illegal Sith artifact dealer, Bane made his perilous journey into the deep core, and after successfully locating Prakith and landing on the world, he fought his way through the Malevolence cultists guarding Andeddu's tomb, and successfully recovered Andeddu's Holocron. Bane learned all that he could from Andeddu's Holocron. However, he failed to successfully complete his essence transfer, and fell to the blade of his apprentice, Darth Zana. The Holocron, meanwhile, fell into the hands of the Dark Jedi, Set Hearth, who was more successful with his essence transfer. Andeddu's Holocron wouldn't be discovered until several hundred years later, during the second year of the Clone Wars, by Quinlan Vos and Tal Skor on Korriban. Vos, who was working undercover and slowly falling to the dark side at this time, managed to win the Holocron from Skor, and presented it to Count Dooku. We can from here assume that Andeddu's Holocron later fell into Darth Sidious's hands, following Dooku's demise, allowing Sidious to gain the knowledge of essence transfer, which he famously used multiple times during the Galactic Civil War to cheat death by transferring into prepared clones of himself. Andeddu's holocron eventually found its way to Darth Krayt, circa 137 ABY, who revitalized the Sith Order under his philosophy of the Rule of One. Now, Krayt was the former Jedi Asherad Het, who had fought during the Clone Wars, survived Order 66, was exiled from his clan of Tusken Raiders, and captured by the Yuuzhan Vong, receiving Vong implants that, combined with intermediate stasis freezing, allowed him to survive long past his normal lifespan. Krayt's Vong implants began to betray him, as his Von Dune crab armor was slowly consuming him from within, and Krayt, desperate to combat this, consulted Andeddu's holocron. However, the holocron's gatekeeper, being a pre-programmed personality of Andeddu, refused to give up his secret to immortality, as he disapproved of Krayt's Sith philosophy and viewed him as undeserving. Darth Rylock III, Krayt's chief lieutenant, journeyed to Prakith to seek Andeddu's tomb and paw over his manuscripts to learn the secret for his master. Rylock fought his way through the cultists still guarding Andeddu's tomb, and one of them, upon their defeat, swore allegiance to Rylock and guided him through the temple to Andeddu's crypt, where the holocron suggested to Rylock that he insert the holocron on Andeddu's chest, which of course he refused. His cultist guide proceeded to take the holocron from him and placed it on Andeddu, and he was unexpectedly absorbed by the body of the Dark Lord, allowing Andeddu to rise once again. Andeddu and Rylock dueled in a contest of force abilities, and Rylock came out of it as the victor. However, Andeddu had the last laugh, as none of his books and scrolls could help Rylock in his quest to save his master. The knowledge of how to achieve immortality died with the body of Darth Andeddu, and had now been crushed under the ruins of his crypt. This transmission was suggested by Matteo Cusini. If you have any suggestions for future transmissions, don't be afraid to drop a comment. In the meantime, keep your comm channels open for future transmissions, and don't forget to subscribe. Tad Larkin, out.